Welcome to episode 4 of the Pro Wrestling Podcast with Lee Burt. I am your host, Lee Burt. The first order of business today is for you to click on that subscribe button. Don't worry, I'll wait. You're not clicking on it. Come on, it's right down there. Don't you see it? You're really making this more difficult than it has to be. There you go. See, that wasn't so hard now, was it? Have you locked the Facebook page? Yeah, I'm gonna need you to go do that too. It's www.facebook.com/theprowrestlingpodcast. Okay, great. Now we can talk pro wrestling. We're on the road to WWE's new pay-per-view, FastLane. On last Thursday's SmackDown, Triple H promised us an announcement that would shake the WWE universe to its core. That translates to, tune into Raw if you're curious as to what creative has came up with in response to the Royal Rumble debacle. I did enjoy Triple H's promo about the New England Patriots and their balls. Sometimes life writes itself. Speaking of which, what did you guys think about the Super Bowl? I know Triple H and Stephanie were in attendance. I thought it was a close one that really could have went either way. I thought that miracle catch by Seattle in the closing minutes would seal the deal for them. But then Seattle shoots themselves in the foot. Pete Carroll made a bad booking decision and turned himself heel. The Patriots win. I liked how Triple H tied that controversy into the Royal Rumble controversy on Raw last night, saying that there wasn't a hashtag for cancel NFL Network. So anyway, what was Triple H's big announcement? Well, nothing that shook me to my core. It was announced that Daniel Bryan would wrestle Seth Rollins on Raw, and the winner gets Roman Reigns at FastLane in a number 1 contenders match. I went back and forth for 3 hours wondering where they were going and how they would get there. You've put Daniel Bryan back in the title hunt, and you have to know that if you beat him again, you're going to have a repeat of the Royal Rumble crowd reaction. That being said, if they let Seth Rollins beat Bryan on Raw, I think most of the heat goes to Seth, which is great because he's one of the top heels anyway, and that heat would amplify that. Then we'd have a match with Rollins against Reigns at FastLane, and if Roman wins, the backlash probably wouldn't be as bad. On the other hand, if they let Bryan beat Rollins, only to go to FastLane and lose, you've screwed the fans 2 months in a row. That essentially turns Roman Reigns heel, whether you're trying to achieve that or not, and they aren't stupid, so I have to believe that if that happens, it's the desired effect. Before we get to the Raw main event, it should be noted that internet rumors have Daniel Bryan facing Dolph Ziggler at WrestleMania, and Seth Rollins facing Randy Orton. It's also been said that Vince is determined to go through with his original booking and not let his creative get hijacked like it did last year. That being said, they put over Daniel Bryan in the main event. He's going to FastLane to take on Roman Reigns. I think he'll get a good match out of Reigns, but if he doesn't win, will we have another 24 hours of cancel WWE Network trending? They're playing with fire a little bit. Are they planning on flipping Reigns? Honestly, no matter who faces Brock at WrestleMania, I don't see a way of beating him in a believable fashion. He's been booked super strong. If I had the opportunity to book WrestleMania, I think I'd have Bryan versus Brock in a competitive David versus Goliath style no disqualification match. I'd have Brock hit an F5 on Bryan and pin him. The ref counts 1, 2, boom. The lights go out. When the lights come back on, The Undertaker is staring down a weakened Lesnar as Daniel Bryan is selling the F5 in the corner. Taker tombstones Brock and the lights go back out. When the lights come back on, The Undertaker is gone. Brock is slowly getting up, but very groggy and confused. Daniel Bryan hits the running knee, and 1, 2, 3. We can end the story there on a positive note, or you can have Brock recover and decimate Daniel Bryan, leaving him unresponsive in the center of the ring. Cue Seth Rollins' music, and we have a cash-in. Seth Rollins, your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I think either way would be pretty cool, and it gives The Undertaker a WrestleMania moment without having him work a match. Call me, Vince. I'm available. Of course, I know there are rumors that The Undertaker will return to face Bray Wyatt. It looks like they're building to that too, with Bray's promos lately. I hate the idea of this match. You can't beat The Undertaker 2 years in a row, and Bray losing doesn't help establish him. It's a no-win as far as I can tell. Guess we'll see as Mania gets closer. When will we see the returns of Orton and Sheamus? Gotta get those guys back to build to WrestleMania. Maybe bring Orton back now as a babyface and start the program with Rollins, and have Sheamus as a surprise entrant and winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, then turn him heel on Raw the next night. How about a Goldust vs. Stardust match for WrestleMania? It would finally be the brother versus brother match we've been waiting for. Rumor has it Goldust is ready to transition to a backstage role. It would be a good opportunity to put Cody over and begin that transition. There could be a Miz vs. Sandow match brewing too. It kinda looks inevitable. There's still a good bit of time between now and WrestleMania, so it'll be interesting to see how the cards fall into place. WWE Network is free this month to new subscribers. If you don't have it, I'd strongly recommend giving it a chance. The live Steve Austin Show podcast with Triple H was pretty great. I didn't think it was quite as good as the one with Vince, but it was still a great informative interview. They've also just added a ton of content to celebrate Black History Month. You can't even get a 12-pack of premium beer for $9.99. If you're a wrestling fan, this one is a no-brainer. Let's talk for a few seconds about TNA Impact Wrestling from this past Friday night, which could have probably been called TNA Impact Promos because they spent about as much time on both. That show could have been consolidated to 1 hour probably and been a much better show, in my opinion. That being said, I enjoy the Monsters Ball match between Jeff Hardy and Abyss. This Friday on Destination America is Lockdown, so we'll be watching that and reviewing that. This is the event that was taped several weeks ago where Jeff Hardy took the insane bump off the top of the cage, landed on the stairs, so we'll be seeing that for the first time on national TV. We also have a Lethal Lockdown match between Kurt Angle's team and MVP's Beatdown Clan, and we're going to have a match between Eric Young and Bobby Roode, and all of these matches are inside 6 sides of steel, so it should be an interesting show next Friday on Destination America. Check it out. I finally got around to catching some of the Wrestle Kingdom 9 pay-per-view that was put on by New Japan Pro Wrestling earlier this year. From what I saw, it was a pretty good pay-per-view. I still have to finish that. New Japan Pro Wrestling has started airing best-of shows on the Access Network. You can catch that Friday nights at 8, 7 Central. This week's WWE Network Match of the Week is WrestleMania 10's match between Bret and Owen Hart that opened the show. It was a great showdown between the two brothers, and Owen Hart actually picks up the win. This was a great match, and it's great to go back and relive some of that old Owen Hart footage. Still ready for them to induct him into the Hall of Fame. It has to happen. That's all the time we have for this week. I'm going to try to keep this one a little bit shorter for you guys. Tune in next week as we explore more scenarios going into WrestleMania 31, and we'll also find out what happened at Lockdown, plus much more. And don't forget, click the subscribe button. If you were holding out on me earlier, now's the time to do it. Go down there, click subscribe. That way you never miss an episode. Also go like our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/theprowrestlingpodcast. Hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next Tuesday for episode 5.